The Grand Chamber of Proxima Station fell silent as William Grant walked to the speaking platform. The human ambassador's footsteps echoed across the vast room, where representatives from over 400 alien species gathered for the Galactic Forum's monthly assembly. Grant wore the simple blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, a stark contrast to the elaborate costumes of the elder races who occupy the highest seats. For 176 years, humans had been part of this gathering. They were newcomers compared to species like the Vulsari, who had traveled the stars for 50,000 years. Yet despite their youth, humans had spread quickly across the galaxy, establishing colonies, trading posts, and research stations at a pace that made many older species uncomfortable. Grant cleared his throat and adjusted the small translator device on his collar. His expression remained calm, but those who knew humans well could see the tension in his shoulders. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Forum," he began, his voice carrying through the chamber's perfect acoustics. "For nearly 2 centuries, humanity has participated in this assembly with good faith and honest intentions. Today, I come before you with an announcement that may surprise you. As of this moment, Earth and all human territories are formally withdrawing from the Galactic Forum." The chamber erupted. Delegates rose from their seats, their voices creating a storm of sounds ranging from high-pitched whistles to deep rumbling growls. The chairperson, a tall blue-skinned Marexi, struck her resonance rod against the floor 3 times, calling for order. "Ambassador Grant," the chairperson said when the noise finally subsided, "this is unprecedented. No species has ever withdrawn from the forum since its founding. Perhaps you would like to reconsider your statement." Grant shook his head. "Our decision is final. Humanity has grown weary of being treated as a curiosity rather than an equal. In the past 50 years alone, humans have presented 342 proposals to this body. All but 7 were rejected. We developed cures for diseases that plague forum worlds, yet watch as millions die, while our medicines are studied for decades. We offered new propulsion technology that would make travel between galaxies possible, only to be told the elder races would consider it in due time." A representative from the Kitten hierarchy, a species resembling large mantises, raised a claw. "Humans must understand that proper consideration takes time. Some of us have seen civilizations rise and fall. We must be cautious with new ideas." "With respect," Grant replied, "caution has become an excuse for stagnation. Last month, when the Terrax colony faced extinction from a collapsing moon, this forum spent 7 days debating proper protocols while children suffocated. Earth sent ships anyway, against forum directives, and saved 16,000 lives. For this, we received a formal censure." The chamber grew uncomfortably quiet. "We did not come to this decision lightly," Grant continued. "Effective immediately, all human representatives will depart forum space. Our military vessels, research stations, and colonial administrators will begin orderly withdrawals from forum territories. We will leave behind detailed instructions for all systems and technologies we've installed." An elder from the Vulsari rose from his elevated seat. "And what of your responsibilities? The supply chains that depend on human goods, the peacekeeping operations your military oversees?" Grant smiled slightly. "Perhaps those should have been considered before voting down our request for equal representation for the 17th time." He reached into his pocket and placed a small, simple device on the speaking platform. It was no larger than a human palm, metallic and engraved with Earth's coordinates. "This is a direct communication link to Earth. When the forum is ready to speak as equals, not as patrons to children, we will answer." Grant stepped away from the platform. "That is all." The galaxy watched in stunned silence as the human ambassador walked out of the chamber. No one moved to stop him. No one knew what to say. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Forum faced something truly unexpected, and none of their ancient protocols told them how to respond. The future had suddenly become unpredictable, and that terrified them more than anything else. 2 months had passed since Earth's withdrawal from the Galactic Forum. Commander Olivia Martinez sat in the command chair of the U.S. Horizon, a sleek diplomatic vessel that once served as a proud symbol of human representation. Now it was part of a massive withdrawal operation. "Commander, we have 3 distress calls coming in simultaneously," said Communications Officer Ryan Chambers. His fingers moved quickly across the glowing console, one from Centauri Trade Route, another from Rigel Medical Station, and a third from the mining colony on Kepler 186. Martinez sighed. This was becoming a pattern. "Put them on screen, one by one." The first image showed a merchant vessel under attack by raiders. Without human peacekeeping ships patrolling the trade routes, piracy had returned to levels not seen in decades. The second showed doctors struggling with overwhelmed medical facilities. The third revealed miners trapped after a collapse, with no emergency response teams available. "Standard response," Martinez ordered. "Tell them we're no longer authorized to intervene in Forum space without official request from Forum Central." "They've all already gone to Forum Central," Chambers replied quietly. "They were told to expect assistance in 2 to 3 weeks, pending proper administrative review." Martinez gripped the armrests of her chair. She knew what would happen in 2 to 3 weeks. Nothing good. "Record this in the log as observation only," she said. "Then send our data to Earth. They need to see what's happening out here." Back on Earth, Director Jason Ortega studied the holographic map in the Withdrawal Command Center. Thousands of blinking lights represented human assets across the galaxy. Every day, more lights changed from blue to green as ships, stations, and personnel completed their withdrawal procedures. "Status report," Ortega called out to the room of busy analysts. Deputy Director Kimberly Nelson approached with a data tablet. "We're at 37% completion, sir. All military vessels have disengaged from peacekeeping operations. Research stations have begun transferring operations to Earth or our colonial worlds. The medical facilities have been the most challenging. We can't just abandon patients." "And the Forum's response?" Nelson shook her head. "They've sent 16 formal protests demanding we reconsider. 3 elder race representatives have arrived to negotiate, but they're just making the same old promises." Ortega nodded. "And our communications blackout?" "Effective," Nelson confirmed. "We're maintaining minimal transmissions beyond our solar system. Forum intelligence agencies are definitely noticing. Their monitoring ships have doubled around our colonial borders." The large doors to the command center slid open as Secretary of Defense Frank Powell entered. His face showed the strain of sleepless nights. "Just got word from Alpha Centauri," Powell said without preamble. "The Forum tried to access the defense grid we built for them. No one could get it to work. They've requested technical assistance." Ortega allowed himself a small smile. "And what did we tell them?" "That the operations manual was provided upon installation, as required by contract. If they had questions, they should have asked before we left." Across the galaxy, confusion was spreading. On the luxury world of Epsilon Eridani, a playground for the galaxy's elite, the central environmental systems began failing. The architects of the artificial paradise had been human engineers. The maintenance crews were human technicians. Neither remained. On the Forum's agricultural planets, harvesting machines sat idle. The Forum had always considered such work beneath them, relying on humans who would take practical jobs others thought too menial. In the great libraries of Ta City, scholars frantically searched databases for information about human technology. They found extensive documentation, but understanding it was another matter. Humans had always been there to explain, to teach, to help implement. Now, there was only silence. Most concerning to the Forum leadership was the whisper spreading among younger species. If humans could walk away, why couldn't they? Ideas of independence began to take root in places where they had never before been considered possible. On Proxima Station, the small communication device left by Ambassador Grant sat untouched on a pedestal in the main chamber. No one had dared to activate it yet. No one wanted to admit how quickly the galaxy was learning what the absence of humanity truly meant. 6 months into the human withdrawal, alarm sirens blared throughout Proxima Station. Red emergency lights flashed in the massive central corridor as aliens of all shapes and sizes rushed in different directions. Panic spread quickly among the 3 million inhabitants of the galaxy's diplomatic hub. In the station's engineering core, Chief Engineer Zoltar of the Rigelian species frantically moved his 6 limbs across control panels. His purple skin had turned a pale lavender from stress. "The quantum stabilizers are failing," he shouted to his team. "Power levels dropping below 30%. Senior Administrator Grelk, an ancient Volsari with gray scales and wise eyes, entered the engineering section. Unlike the others, he moved with deliberate calm. "Explain the situation," Grelk demanded. Zoltar pointed to a complex display showing the station's power grid. At its center, a pulsing red light indicated the failing core. "The human-designed quantum matrix is experiencing cascade failures," Zoltar said. "We've tried standard protocols, but nothing works. The system requires specific knowledge we don't possess." "Can we evacuate?" Grelk asked. "Not enough time," another engineer replied. "If the core fails completely, the quantum instability will spread throughout the station. We have hours, not days." Grelk's inner eyelids closed briefly as he considered the options. The Volsari had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. Yet here they stood, helpless before human technology they had dismissed as primitive just 2 centuries ago. "Bring me the human communication device," Grelk finally ordered. Minutes later, in the Grand Chamber, Grelk placed his scaled hand on the small metal device Ambassador Grant had left behind. It activated immediately, projecting the simple holographic interface. "This is Senior Administrator Grelk of the Galactic Forum," he spoke clearly. "We request immediate assistance with a critical system failure on Proxima Station." The device pulsed once. A message appeared, "Request received. Assistance en route." Just 40 minutes later, sensors detected a small human vessel dropping out of faster-than-light travel near the station. It was barely larger than a shuttle, with simple lines and the Earth emblem on its hull. The vessel docked without requesting permission. From it emerged a single human, a dark-skinned man with short black hair and a practical jumpsuit. He carried only a small tool case. "Dr. Eric Washington." He introduced himself as guards escorted him to the engineering section. "I understand you're having problems with the quantum core." Zoltar bristled at the human's casual tone. "The quantum matrix is experiencing cascading failures that could destroy the entire station. This is not simply a problem." Washington nodded and approached the main console. His fingers moved quickly across the controls, bringing up system diagnostics the Rigelian engineers hadn't been able to access. "Just as I thought," Washington said. "The core requires a specific recalibration sequence every 6 months. It's clearly documented in Section 47 of the maintenance manual we left behind." Grelk stepped forward. "We reviewed all documentation. There was no mention of this requirement." Washington pulled up the manual on the screen and scrolled to Section 47. There it was, clearly outlined in simple terms with diagrams. The Volsari's eyes widened slightly. "How?" he began. "You didn't read it," Washington said simply as he worked. His hands moved with practiced precision, entering complex commands that gradually stabilized the core. "You assumed your engineers would understand our technology intuitively. They can't, not without proper study." Within 30 minutes, the core stabilized. Emergency sirens fell silent. The station was safe. As Washington packed his tools, Grelk approached him. "We are grateful for your assistance," the Volsari said formally. "You should be aware," Washington replied. "This is just one of 17 critical systems that will require similar intervention within the year. All are documented in manuals your people have ignored." Grelk's scales flattened against his head, a sign of embarrassment rarely seen in the elder race. "Perhaps," the administrator said carefully, "the forum should reconsider its position on human participation." Washington smiled slightly. "That would be a start. But understand this, we won't return to being ignored. Equality isn't negotiable anymore. He turned and walked toward the docking bay, leaving Grok to contemplate how quickly the mighty Galactic Forum had been brought to its knees by the absence of the galaxy's youngest spacefaring species. The Galactic Forum delegation arrived at Earth with great ceremony but little warmth. Their massive ship, covered in the ornate decorations favored by elder races, looked out of place above the clean lines of Earth's orbital platforms. High Counselor Zrixian led the group, his tall, thin body wrapped in the flowing robes that signified his 10,000 years of service to the Forum. The delegation expected to land at one of humanity's sprawling spaceports. Instead, they were directed to a modest facility outside Geneva. As they exited their shuttle, they noticed the quiet. Earth's famous spaceports, once bustling with activity, now stood eerily silent in the distance. Secretary of Interstellar Affairs Lisa Campbell greeted them in a simple meeting room. She was a middle-aged woman with short gray hair and the confident posture of someone used to making difficult decisions. No other humans were present. "Welcome to Earth," Campbell said. "I understand you've come a long way." Zrixian bowed slightly, his long neck bending in the formal greeting of the Forum. "We thank you for receiving us. The Forum has sent us to discuss terms for humanity's return." Campbell gestured to the chairs around a wooden table. Nothing electronic, nothing that suggested the advanced technology humans were known for. It felt deliberate. "Please, make yourselves comfortable," she said. Once seated, Zrixian placed a small device on the table. It projected a document in glowing letters. "We have prepared a proposal for humanity's return under special consideration protocols. The Forum is willing to accelerate review of human proposals and provide a dedicated liaison office." Campbell listened without expression. When Zrixian finished, she simply asked, "Is that all?" The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "This is a generous offer from the Forum. No species has ever received such accommodation." "That's the problem," Campbell replied. "We don't want special treatment. We want equal standing. After nearly 2 centuries, we've learned that being treated as special means being treated as different, as less." She touched a control on her wrist. The plain wall behind her transformed into a display. "For the past 176 years, we have documented every instance of Forum discrimination and obstruction of human initiatives." The display filled with thousands of entries. Each showed a human proposal, followed by Forum rejection, followed by consequences. Campbell highlighted one entry. "Here's a human proposal for advanced asteroid deflection technology. Rejected by the Forum as unnecessary and potentially destabilizing." 3 years later, an asteroid struck Proxima Centauri b, killing 40,000. She selected another. "Medicine for Rigelian plague." Rejected as untested by long-term standards. 6 million dead while Forum protocols were followed. "These are cherry-picked examples," protested a Marexi delegate. "The Forum must consider all implications before adopting new technologies." Campbell's eyes narrowed. "Cherry-picked? Computer, display supernova containment proposal." The screen showed a complex technical document submitted by human scientists 30 years earlier. "This technology could have contained the radiation from the Betelgeuse supernova last year," Campbell said quietly. The Forum rejected it as theoretically unsound. 2 billion lives lost on exposed worlds. Zrixian shifted uncomfortably. "The Forum regrets those losses, but this seems like a petty exercise. Keeping score of past disagreements will not move us forward." Campbell touched her wrist again. The display changed to show a hologram of dozens of human innovations that had been rejected by the Forum. Each spun slowly, accompanied by data showing lives that could have been saved, progress that could have been made. "This isn't about keeping score," Campbell said. "This is about recognizing a pattern. Humans propose. The Forum disposes. The galaxy suffers." She leaned forward. "We don't want special consideration. We want a Forum where all voices are heard equally, regardless of how long a species has been traveling the stars." That would append thousands of years of tradition, gasped a Volsari delegate. Exactly, Campbell replied. That's the point. Drixian stood, his tall frame looming over the table. The elder races will never accept such terms. We have guided the galaxy since before humans learned to make fire. And how's that working out? Campbell asked, her voice calm but firm. From where we stand, the galaxy isn't being guided. It's being held back. The delegates looked at each other in shock. No species had ever spoken to the elder races this way. This diplomatic mission appears to be at an end, Drixian said stiffly. Campbell nodded. It appears so. Our shuttle will return you to your vessel whenever you're ready. As the delegates filed out, she added, the offer remains open. When the Forum is ready for true equality, humanity will be waiting. 1 year after humanity's withdrawal, strange reports began flooding Forum intelligence channels. Forum spy ships detected unusual activity in unexplored regions beyond established territories. Human vessels were venturing into spaces that even the elder races considered dangerous or unimportant. Most concerning were rumors of meetings between humans and previously unknown species. On the frontier planet Kepler 442 bits, trader Alan Simmons stepped off his small cargo ship onto the newly constructed landing pad. Around him, a bustling trading post had sprung up in just 3 months. Beams of various shapes and sizes moved between simple but functional buildings. Some were familiar Forum species. Others were completely unknown to galactic records. Simmons smiled as he watched a tall, insect-like creature haggling with a blue-skinned merchant over a crate of rare minerals. Neither wore Forum identification, yet both were using translator devices of human design. Welcome back, Captain Simmons, called out Nura, a 4-armed technician who managed the port's operations. Her species, the Draxi, had deliberately avoided contact with the Forum for centuries. How was your run to the outer systems? Profitable, Simmons replied, handing her a datapad. 4 new trading partners want to establish regular shipments through Freeport Simmons. The name had stuck from the first day, when Simmons had announced that this port would operate without Forum taxation or regulation. Equal treatment for all, regardless of species age or technological advancement. Inside the port's central hub, Simmons found Governor Laura Chen reviewing security protocols with her team. Chen had once been a mid-level bureaucrat in the Forum's diplomatic corps. Now she administered the most rapidly growing economic center in this sector of the galaxy. The Forum sent another observation vessel, Chen told Simmons quietly. They're keeping their distance, but definitely taking notes. Simmons nodded. Let them watch. We're doing nothing wrong. They might disagree, Chen said. We're trading with 17 species they didn't even know existed. This was the most surprising development of humanity's withdrawal. Within months of leaving Forum space, humans had established contact with numerous spacefaring civilizations that had deliberately avoided the Forum. Some had been watching from the shadows for thousands of years, turned away by the Forum's reputation for hierarchical politics and the dominance of elder races. The Jexari delegation arrived while you were gone, Chen continued. Their fleet admiral wants to discuss mutual defense arrangements. The Jexari were one such species, highly advanced but secretive. Their technology rivaled that of the elder races, yet they had hidden their civilization for millennia, disguising their worlds as uninhabitable. Defense against what? Simmons asked. The Forum hasn't made any aggressive moves. Not yet, Chen replied. But word is spreading. More species are questioning Forum authority every day. The Council of Elders won't tolerate that forever. Across the galaxy, Forum leaders were indeed growing concerned. In a secure chamber on Proxima Station, intelligence officers presented their findings to Senior Administrator Grelk. Humans have established diplomatic and trade relations with at least 17 previously unknown spacefaring civilizations, reported a Centurion analyst. Some appear to have technology matching or exceeding Forum standards. How is this possible? Demanded a Volsari elder. Our exploration ships have mapped the galaxy for 50,000 years. These species didn't want to be found, the analyst replied. They observed forum politics and chose isolation instead. And now they emerge for humans. The elder's tone was incredulous. Grelk studied the holographic display showing the location of what humans called Freeport Simmons. Trade routes extended from it in all directions, including deep into forum territory. What is the economic impact? Grelk asked. Another analyst stepped forward. Significant. Many forum citizens are traveling to human-controlled ports to trade. They pay no forum taxes there. Our standardized currency is losing value against something called human credits. This cannot continue, the Volsari elder declared. The forum has maintained galactic order for millennia. These humans are dismantling our systems in mere months. Grelk watched as the display showed another ship, this one bearing forum markings, changing course toward the free port. They aren't using force, Grelk observed. They're simply offering an alternative, and many are choosing it over us. For the first time in his long life, the Volsari administrator felt something unfamiliar, doubt about the forum's future. Humanity hadn't just left. They were building something new, something that might render the ancient forum obsolete. 18 months after humanity's withdrawal, the Galactic Forum faced an economic crisis unlike any in its long history. Forum currency, once the standard across thousands of worlds, now traded at half its former value against the human credit. Multiple member species had begun questioning centuries of forum policy. Some were openly discussing withdrawal. On the forum financial center of Altair Prime, banks closed their doors as panicked investors tried to convert their holdings to human credits. Forum peacekeepers struggled to maintain order as riots broke out in the capital city. Meanwhile, on the desert planet Nimbus II, Chief Engineer Karen Powell supervised the final adjustments to a massive ring-shaped structure. Teams of human technicians worked alongside aliens from both forum and non-forum worlds. The atmosphere was one of focused excitement. Calibration complete, called out a technician. Power levels optimal. Powell nodded, checking the readings on her tablet. Initiate final sequence. Energy surged through the ring. A shimmering portal appeared in its center, stable and controlled. Gateway active, Powell announced. Connection established with Earth Hub. The crowd erupted in cheers. What they were witnessing had been declared theoretically impossible by forum scientists for centuries. Instantaneous transportation technology. The distance between Nimbus II and Earth was 37 light-years. Now it could be crossed in a single step. Powell pressed a button on her communicator. Earth Hub, we are ready for the demonstration. Moments later, a convoy of trucks emerged through the portal. Each carried containers bearing the Red Cross symbol. Medical supplies, enough to treat millions. Powell turned to address the crowd. As you know, Rigel VII is currently experiencing a plague. Forum relief ships would take 3 weeks to arrive. These supplies will be there in minutes. On the edge of the gathering stood several forum observers. One stepped forward, a tall Merexi with official diplomatic markings on her robes. This technology, the Merexi began. The forum has declared such transportation to be impossible. Clearly, they were wrong, Powell replied simply. Why share this demonstration with us? Asked another forum representative, his tone suspicious. And why send aid to a forum world suffering from a plague? You withdrew from our politics. Powell's expression remained professional, but her eyes showed a flash of emotion. We left your politics, not our humanity. People are suffering. We can help. As the medical supplies were directed through the portal to a second gateway near Rigel VI, Powell continued. As for why we're showing you this technology, it's already operational across human space and allied territories. Soon there will be hundreds of these gateways, connecting worlds instantly without the need for long space journeys. The implications were enormous. For millennia, the Forum had controlled major trade routes. Much of their power came from regulating access to these routes. Instant transportation would render that control meaningless. The Forum will never accept this technology, the Marexi diplomat stated firmly. It would destabilize established order. That's your choice, Powell said. But consider this. Any world that joins our network gains immediate access to resources, medical care, and trade opportunities that the Forum cannot match. She gestured to the portal, where more vehicles continued to emerge. This gateway will remain active. Any world may request access, regardless of species or status. The only requirement is that they abandon discriminatory hierarchies and treat all sentient beings as equals. The Forum representatives exchanged worried glances. This was far worse than they had imagined. Humans weren't just withdrawing. They were offering an entirely new galactic order. Back on Proxima Station, the Forum Council of Elders met in emergency session. Reports from across Forum space showed the same pattern. Economic decline, civil unrest, and increasing calls for reform. We must take action against the humans, demanded the Volsari representative. Their technology threatens everything we have built. With what forces? Asked another elder. Our military recruitment has fallen by 60%. Many of our own citizens are emigrating to human territories. The council fell silent as they confronted an uncomfortable truth. The mighty Galactic Forum, which had ruled for thousands of years, now faced collapse after just 18 months without humanity. And the humans had yet to reveal their most dramatic developments. 2 years after humanity withdrew from the Galactic Forum, the ancient institution began to crumble. 17 younger species had formally withdrawn, citing human precedent. Trade routes, once controlled by Forum authorities, now sat nearly empty as ships chose human gateway transportation instead. Forum peacekeeping forces struggled to maintain order as more worlds questioned the authority of the elder races. In a secure chamber on the Forum capital world, 3 elder race representatives met in secret. The Volsari, Marexi, and Centurion leaders spoke in hushed tones, their usual ceremonial formalities abandoned in the face of crisis. "We have no choice," said the Volsari leader, his scaled skin pale with stress. "We must take direct action against Earth. Their influence spreads like a disease through the galaxy." The Marexi nodded her elongated head. "Our analysts report that 43% of Forum worlds now conduct trade primarily through human networks. Our authority weakens daily." "Then we are agreed," the Centurion said. "The battle fleet will depart in 3 days. Earth must be brought back under Forum control by any means necessary." None of them mentioned their private concerns, that many of their own citizens, including military personnel, had quietly emigrated to human territories in recent months. 5 days later, the largest Forum battle group ever assembled dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the edge of Earth's solar system. 300 warships, representing the combined might of the elder races, moved in perfect formation toward the blue-green planet that had caused such galactic disruption. Admiral Dren of the Volsari stood on the command deck of the flagship, surveying the tactical display. His confidence grew as sensors showed minimal human defenses in the outer system. Perhaps the upstart species had grown complacent in their isolation. "Communications," Dren ordered. "Broadcast our demands to Earth Central Authority." Before the order could be carried out, every weapon system across all 300 ships suddenly went offline. Propulsion systems followed moments later. The mighty battle fleet drifted helplessly in space. On the flagship's main screen, a human face appeared. A dark-skinned man with short gray hair and the uniform of an Earth Fleet admiral looked out at the stunned Volsari commander. "This is Admiral Vincent Reeves of Earth Defense Force," the human said calmly. "I believe you were about to issue demands. I'm curious what they might be, considering your current situation." Admiral Dren struggled to maintain his composure. "What have you done to our vessels?" "Nothing destructive," Reeves replied. "We've simply activated the remote shutdown protocols built into your weapons and propulsion systems." "Impossible," Dren sputtered. "Our systems are secured with the highest encryption protocols in the galaxy." Reeves smiled slightly. "Which we designed for you," 80 years ago. Did you really think we would create defense systems without backdoor access? The revelation hit Dren like a physical blow. For decades, humans had provided technology to forum worlds, always appearing helpful, always seeming to accept their subordinate position. We've been able to neutralize your weapons remotely for decades, Reeves continued. We just never had a reason to show you, until now. Across the flagship's bridge, junior officers looked to their commander for guidance. Some appeared frightened, others angry. What happens now? Dren asked, his voice hollow. That's entirely up to you, Reeves said. Your life support systems remain functional. We've taken the liberty of uploading coordinates for a safe return journey to your navigation computers. You're free to return to forum space and report what you've learned here. The Admiral's scales darkened with humiliation. And if we refuse, then you're welcome to stay right where you are, Reeves shrugged. Though I should mention that many of your crew members have already contacted us privately, requesting asylum in human territory. We've granted those requests. As if on cue, transport vessels appeared near several of the forum ships. Hundreds of escape pods launched, heading toward the human transports. Those are deserters, Dren exclaimed. They abandon their duty to the forum. They choose freedom over outdated hierarchy, Reeves corrected, something many across the galaxy are doing now. The human admiral's expression softened slightly. This doesn't have to be the end of our relationship with the forum, just the end of an unequal one. When you're ready to talk as equals, we'll welcome that conversation. The screen went dark, leaving Admiral Dren staring at the growing number of escape pods leaving his fleet. 2,000 years of military service to the forum ended in minutes without a single shot fired. The galaxy's power had shifted irreversibly, and everyone knew it. 3 years after humanity withdrew from the Galactic Forum, the small communication device Ambassador William Grant had left behind finally activated. The blue light pulsed in the now half-empty grand chamber of Proxima Station. Most member species seats remained vacant, their representatives having returned to homeworlds or, in some cases, joined human allied territories. Forum Supreme Leader Xanthos, the oldest living Volsari and head of the Forum for 700 years, stared at the device with mixed emotions. Pride urged him to ignore it. Survival instinct told him otherwise. With a gnarled, scaled hand, he touched the device. This is Supreme Leader Xanthos. The Forum requests formal negotiations with Earth. 2 weeks later, representatives from across the galaxy gathered on the neutral world of Ta City IV. The location itself was symbolic, a planet terraformed by humans but open to all species. The meeting took place not in a grand governmental building, but in a simple circular structure with a transparent dome that revealed the stars above. United Earth President Nicole Hoffman entered without ceremony. She was a tall woman with silver hair and the confident bearing of someone who had guided her people through momentous times. With her came a small delegation representing human colonies and newly allied species. Opposite them, Supreme Leader Xanthos led what remained of the Forum leadership. Their once elaborate ceremonial robes had been replaced with simpler attire, another concession to changing times. Thank you for agreeing to meet, Hoffman began, dispensing with traditional Forum opening protocols. I believe we have much to discuss. Xanthos nodded stiffly. The Forum acknowledges that circumstances have changed. We are prepared to consider new arrangements for galactic cooperation. I'm glad to hear it, Hoffman replied. She gestured, and an aide activated a holographic display in the center of the room. This is our proposal. The display showed a structure unlike the hierarchical pyramid of the Forum. Instead, it formed an interconnected web with all points holding equal position. We call it the Interstellar Commonwealth, Hoffman explained. Its founding principle is simple. All sentient species, regardless of age, technology, or biology, receive equal representation and rights. Xanthos studied the display, his ancient eyes narrowing. This would dismantle 5,000 years of galactic order. The elder races have guided younger species since before humans discovered fire. And where has that guidance led us? Hoffman asked gently. To a galaxy divided by privilege and rank. To technologies suppressed because they might disrupt the established order. To billions dead because solutions existed but weren't implemented quickly enough. She stepped closer to the hologram. We aren't suggesting chaos. We're offering true cooperation, equal voices, shared responsibility. Many in the forum delegation shifted uncomfortably. One, a younger Merexi, spoke up. What guarantees would exist to prevent hostile or immature species from gaining dangerous influence? The same guarantees that should have existed in the forum, Hoffman replied. Transparent decision-making. Checks on power. The requirement that decisions affecting all must be approved by representatives of all. Debate continued for hours. The forum delegation raised objections, cited ancient precedents, warned of dangers. The human delegation countered with examples, demonstrations, and evidence of successful cooperation among their allied worlds. As the first day of negotiations ended, Xanthos appeared tired but thoughtful. Your Commonwealth model is intriguing, but idealistic. Some species simply aren't ready for such responsibility. Hoffman smiled slightly. Perhaps, but we've learned something important in our 3 years away from the forum. Given the chance, most beings rise to meet higher expectations. She touched a control on her wrist device. The hologram changed, showing a massive object moving toward the galaxy from intergalactic space. There's another reason we've pushed so hard for change, Hoffman said, her voice growing serious. Our deep space observatories detected this 6 months ago. We call it the Outsider. It's artificial, immense, and appears to be a scout for something larger. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The old ways would have doomed us all, Hoffman continued. The forum would have debated for decades while this threat grew closer. Only together, as true equals sharing all resources and knowledge, do we stand a chance against what's coming. Xanthos looked from the hologram to Hoffman, then to his own delegation. Millennia of tradition weighed against survival itself. It seems, the ancient Volseri said slowly, that humanity's departure from the forum may have saved us all. The following day, the treaty establishing the Interstellar Commonwealth was signed. The galaxy, once terrified by humanity's absence, now looked to them with hope for a future where cooperation replaced domination.